Welcome, bitches. This is the With Love Nick podcast. There is nothing off limits here. Oh, get on your power panties. Shit, I always say that. How are we always aligned? You did not. Of course you did. Of fucking course you did. Success happens on the other side of conventional thinking. I say this all the time because when I was conventionally thinking, it left me burnt out and drunk. Welcome to this week's episode of the With Love Nick podcast. Welcome to this week's episode of With Love Nick. I'm your host, Nick BG. Today, I have Alexandra with me. She is a marketing and sales artist and strategist. An artist and strategist. She is one of my peers in this incredible industry, and she is the queen of sales and showing up with an I don't give a fuck confidence about her. And I would love for you to properly introduce yourself further before we get started. Hello, hello.
Hello. Oh, thank you for having me. I feel like you wrapped it up so well. But yeah, I'm Alex and I'm a business mentor first and foremost, but my specialty and my zone of genius is just truly in being able to hear what you can't say and make it really, really sexy and appealing to those high level, high ticket clients from content alone. So in the, human world, I'm really good at content and messaging. So that's what I do with my clients.
I love that so much. And you really are. You really have a voice for like exactly what people are thinking,
Mhm.
exactly what people want to say, but
Yep.
ego takes the stage for the majority of people. So I want to
Yeah.
know though, like, I want to know because you literally, when you go to your social media, it's like sales and marketing is your jam. That's like obvious. And that's why I shared so many of the things to the With Love Nick IG page as far as like sales and marketing when I was introducing you, because it's like, that is such a rock solid zone of genius that you have that a lot of people don't have. So I'm really interested. I want to pick your brain on a lot of the sales and marketing things today. So I want to
Please
know,
do.
why and how did you become a sales and marketing expert? And did it look the same when you first started to the voice that you have today?
God, no. I actually got good at it because I sucked at it. I like kind of got my start for like a lot. Like I was so many of my clients. Whereas like I'm never like well, I've been in the industry for 12 years now. I've been online for 12 years. I started with a network marketing company, and I had gotten a taste of freedom and just realized I was never ever going to go back and have a traditional career or whatever. And sales and marketing was not my like forte at that point in time. I was doing okay, but I mean, like, it took me 8 months to make my first sale, and social media and content to me was like, I was so scared. I had all the things that a lot of people have, where it's like, can I really say that? Or what are they going to think about me? So I've been through all of that. But then eventually I was just like, well, I don't give a fuck. Like my name's on my paycheck, and I really like being able to like go to the beach at noon on a sunny summer day and like be able to just take a vacation whenever I want. So I'm going to get really really good at this. And so I kind of stumbled into marketing and sales by accident. I was really like into like health and wellness, and then when I switched over into like coaching and consulting, I was very much like mindset and leadership and energy and like everything like I guess more I don't know, just different. I wasn't a strategist at that point in time. But I found that when people would hire me, they'd always like want my like, oh my God, how do you say this? Or like, oh, like your piece of content was so good. Like that's what I've been trying to say for forever. So I kind of accidentally stumbled across it. And then I realized I was like, wow, I can do this in my sleep and I'm really good at it. And I can, hear what people can't say. And I feel like I call myself like a matchmaker to your clients from your content because all of a sudden you're visible to them. All of a sudden, it's not that they're uninterested, they're just unaware. And I'm kind of the person who says, "Oh yeah, look at like here's your option, here's your offer, here's your magic." And so part of my flair and personality was I like to be, loud and say the things that people aren't willing to say, always from love, of course. But I mean, people don't move if they're not uncomfortable. And
I
so
know.
I'm not afraid to stir the pot. You can blame me if you want, but you know what? Your bank account will thank me. So,
I
but yeah.
literally died when I saw one of your posts a couple weeks ago, and I was literally just talking to my mentor about this too. I was like, because Jess battled, we recorded with her last week, and I was like, "Did you see Alex's post where she was like, dude, fuck this, dude, bro?" And I was like, I was reading that post, and I was like, literally. I wouldn't have even had to know it was on your page and I would be like, that's Alex. Like
Yeah,
the way that you talk is just like, it's how we talk in the normal world, right? It's like,
yeah,
it's how we would articulate a message if we were walking up to somebody, right? So like,
yeah,
I love that you are so bold in being able to voice the things that the majority of people want to say because I feel like, especially the leaders in our industry, we don't have enough of that. But I'm going to go off topic a little bit because one of the things that you said at the beginning that it took 8 months to make your first sale. I want to know what your thought process was going through that 8 months and how you were able to leverage the failures and the flops and the limiting beliefs and all of that to keep going and create the success that you have today. Because, like, 8 months without a sale when you're first starting out is like the longest period of time ever. And I
yeah.
want to know, I'm sure a lot of the listeners want to know too, like, how did you make it through that alive?
Um, I'm incredibly stubborn for one. That's been something since childhood, since birth. But no, like I just I knew I could do it, and I was also very self-aware at the time. Like I knew that I wasn't showing up my best. I knew that I had more to learn. I knew that I was holding back. And I think that for everybody, we all know what holding back is for us at that moment. There's always a new level, but at that point in time, my fears were running the show, and I was not I wasn't blaming anything. And so I took accountability for that. And I think that's what got me through at least the first 8 months of like just no sales. Cause I was just like, well, I'm the problem and also the solution. And so it kind of was my own self growth journey at that point in time to realize like, hey, like results, they're pretty predictable once you've got the system, the strategy, and whatnot down. The mindset definitely is going to play a big role in that because that's how you start, that's how you show up. And I knew like that's where I was like missing. I was playing it like very vanilla, very safe. And like who I was off camera was not who I was in front of the camera. And who
Mhm.
I was trying to be on social media to try and get people to move was like, I knew that that wasn't me. And I knew it was inauthentic. And so I guess I kind of recognized that until I was ready to like actually step into that leadership and step into that, hey, guess what? My voice matters too. I get to say stuff too. I get to have my place. I get to get results too. I kind of knew that that had to happen. And so I gave myself a little bit of grace while I was learning. And thankfully at the time, I didn't necessarily have my back up against the wall, like at least financially, so I could like take that time. But I think a lot of people like my ego was definitely hurt. Like it totally was.
For
Like I
sure.
felt like failure. It was hard to get up every day to like keep acting like it was fine and to like keep holding that vision. But at the end of the day, like I knew when I laid my head down, I was like, this is you, like, this is you, and, like, the it's kind of like the faster you move through it, the faster you move through it. So, like,
Mhm.
just do it. And then
Yeah.
eventually I just got really fed up and I was just like, "You know what? Fuck people." Like, like not like in like a mean way, but I was just like, "What am I so afraid of? What is the worst thing that's
Yes.
going to happen? Like somebody's going to like block me, somebody's gonna say no, somebody like my aunt so and so is gonna come, which she did. I mean, my aunt so and so would love to comment on my stuff and like tell me how unladylike I was for
Oh
showing up,
my gosh.
and talking how we talk. But anyways, I was just realizing I was like, I'm missing out on all my goals and dreams because I am literally holding myself back, or I'm
Yeah.
being afraid of what everybody else had power that like I was giving away. And then so it was kind
Yeah.
of like a moment where I was like, you know what? They don't pay my bills. They're
Fuck
not funding that
people.
big fuck people, man. Like
You're like Aunt
they
so and so, and she did. She did.
she totally did. I have 2 aunts, and I won't say them on here because I swear they'll get to this.
Oh
But they
my
know who they
gosh.
are, and they will tell you. They're like, "Oh no," that one of their favorite things to do was to troll and to and I think that we all have that somebody in our mind, though. It's like we've got a family member we don't want to see our posts. We've got that girl from high school who we don't want her to think so. And eventually you just get to the
Mm.
point where you're like, "Nah, man, like fuck
Nah,
people."
man. Oh my gosh. The inner voice of Alexandra, I swear you speak to me so often. Nah, man, fuck it.
You know what? No, and then truly, that is a huge thing with your content. Like if you just write it as you talk, like when I'm like, bro, dude, like come on. Like it's
Oh,
like
it
people
is.
can hear that, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, she's a human. I get
Yeah.
what she's saying.
I love that so much. One of the things that stuck out for me, I'm like completely getting off of my notes right here. And this is like what I love about us. But when you said, I recognize that I was the problem and the solution, like how fucking powerful to like bridge that gap. Like,
Yeah.
how fucking powerful to be able to say, okay, like the leaks in our lives and our business, they come back to us. And so many people are so quick to point the finger and blame somebody else for the wrong implementation or the wrong strategy, the wrong advice or the
Yeah.
wrong insight and all of this stuff. And it all comes back to us. And it's like when we recognize that our action or the lack of our action is the problem, we also tap into the solutions and the resources that we already have available to us. So the fact that you could do that during the time that you were not generating an income and really putting your all into this business that you were building, like, wow, that is just so
I know.
inspiring. Like, you're
That's a
like, I
very wise
know,
move.
bitch. Like,
No, no, no. I mean, like the confidence that I have now was because of that. It's like,
yeah,
like going through those hard times and still being able to be like, wow, guess what? Like I'm the problem, but also the solution and taking that accountability.
yeah,
It's like, I guess it's such a peace of mind actually if you think about it. Well, a lot of people, like you said, they do want to blame, well, I don't have this training, or so and so doesn't pay enough attention to me, or the algorithm. That's a big one, the algorithm. I'm like,
oh, I know.
algorithm doesn't have to out for you, babe. Like like it doesn't, I
Yeah.
swear.
Oh
But
my
it's
God.
like, you know when you just kind of realize how much is in your control, it kind of eliminates all the other bullshit excuses. Like we don't actually need a ton of more information if you're not acting on what you have, or you're not like at least admitting to yourself, like, oh hey, like guess what? I could be doing better. I could be
Yeah.
leaning in more. Like look yourself in the mirror and say that. Like that's a big thing. And yeah, it's a huge part. And I think that if you don't let go of that, that's where you really see people like soar. It's like
Yeah.
we say day one energy all the time, but day one is also being a student every day and learning and saying, I'm good, but I'm not great yet. And I'm going to
Yeah.
keep going. And tomorrow I'm going to be better. And, I'm just scratched the surface. And so I think that, I don't know if that was just instilled from a long time ago or what it was, but it was just like, that was, that was a thing. I was like, well, I'm not quitting. So we're going to figure this one out.
Yeah, I mean, I truly believe, and a lot of people may disagree with me because we have kind of been conditioned that, like, if I can do it, you can do it. But I truly believe that some people are just made for this industry and some people aren't, right? It's like, we,
It's true.
I cannot teach you how to embody your experience.
No.
That has to be, you have to desire to take that action yourself, right? And so when you talk about taking that like radical responsibility, that's like, not a lot of people are born with that, and not everybody can do that. Not everybody
No.
can build the awareness up to the point where they can take responsibility in their own life and their business. And so when you say like maybe it was just instilled from a long time ago, like you're just one of those, you're part of the 1%. You're one of those women who is made for this industry. Not everybody is made for this industry, right? And it's
Right.
like you've been in the industry almost as long as I have. And so we built our business when everybody was like, all you need is 15 minutes and a cell phone. If I can do it, you can do it. Everybody can do this. This is
Oh, yes.
all of this
I
stuff. And
used to share that.
it's like, no, not everybody can do what we do,
No.
especially at the depth that we do it, right? It's like
No.
when we think of depth and not width, not everybody can do that. Not
Oh
everybody
my
can do
God.
that.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And you know, there's really good marketers out there who will tell you that exact same thing. They'll be like, it takes 2 minutes a day and all this stuff. And does it sell? Absolutely it does. But we're preying on people who don't have longevity. They don't have the grit. They don't have tenacity. I mean, they're going to get taken out once a little storm comes out. And like, honestly, that's that's half of it. Is
Yeah,
just like your staying power, just being able to show up tomorrow, show up
absolutely.
when it's a bad day, and like to keep going. And so it's a big conversation. I think it's getting bigger. I think that more people are being more transparent, especially like on your stuff, on your channel. It's like we're like really pulling back the curtains and be like, no, we're not holding anything back. Like the fact of the matter is, like, you have to be really fucking obsessed with what you do. You have to like be able to have the thickest fucking skin because it is going to break you at times. And you have to get up the next day and be like, all right, 24 hours, that's up, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, it's like one of the biggest things I feel like, especially you and I are so similar in the way that we like tackle our business every day, but it's like learning how to leverage the energy and exhaust the energy in productive ways every single day, because otherwise, like, we know it carries over the next day. Like, if I don't
Oh my
exhaust my
God.
energy, I'll wake up the next morning, I'm like, uh-uh, no, like,
Oh
fuck
my
this.
God. Yes.
And a
Yes.
lot
We
of
have
people
to,
can't do that. A lot of people
yeah.
can't do that. A lot of people don't like they just become unhinged in the most destructive ways when it's like this is the work. This is the work that's required though. So I'm like I'm so interested in this because it completely like turned the other way of the questions I wanted to ask you, but it's like now I'm getting back to it because with everything that we're touching on, like what is your main zone of genius? When people come to you and they're like I want to hire her, what is it that they come to you for? Like, is it for the sales and marketing, or do you feel that it's like helping them create the confidence to be able to say what everybody else is thinking? Because I feel like there's just
I
so
think
many
it's
things that we
one.
just touched on that I'm like, wow, like,
Yeah. I
wow.
think, I think how, and I kind of intentionally do this with my marketing, we lead with what they want, right? They want the sales, they want the money, they want the high level clients, but at the end of the day, they want to be fucking free.
Yeah.
Free to say what they want, do what they want, hire the people they want, say no to the people they don't want to work with, build their business as big as they want. People just want to be fucking free. And it starts with freeing yourself and freeing your voice. And I
Oh,
think that's why people really feel attracted to me or like drawn to my work because they see like clearly the strategy works. But if you hired me just for strategy, that's the thing. There's a million strategies, they all work. But the fact that we're going to find the one that works for you, that we're going to dive really deep into your expertise and like really illuminate and just like amplify that voice that probably has been hidden down, too many check the boxes. You probably know too much, say this, don't say that, whatever else. And like, it's like I don't really do a lot of like childhood work or anything like that where we dive into like where you got it from or anything like that. But we definitely like, no, let's yank the fucking weed right now and let's start. And I think that like when they hire me, all of a sudden there is like this piece of them that's just been dying to be let out.
oh
And then all of a
yeah.
sudden it is, and they think it's the content or the marketing, but the thing is, I don't write their content for them. They do. I just make sure it's just, it needs to go out the right way. But I tell people, I don't want it to sound like me. If people can tell I wrote your content, I'm doing a bad job because this is you. This is your voice. This is your story. This is your experience. This is what you can do with your people. I just give it a little structure and just a little wording to make it a little bit more appealable at first. But otherwise, I mean, this
Yeah.
is you. And I think that's the big thing. Like, such a great question. I think people think it's the sales and the marketing. They think it's the messaging. They think it's the content. It's fucking freedom, dude. That's what it
Yeah.
is.
So much more than that. And I think that so many people are like, I was just talking to one of my mentors about this tonight, and it's like in 2023, there were like so many shifts, and I just like couldn't put my finger on it. And now it's
Mhm.
like everybody is just tapping into the fact that they are multi-passionate. There's things that
Yeah.
it's not just a one thing, right? It's like especially business mentors. It's like it's not a one thing that's going to help you create success. It's all of the fucking things, right? So it's like,
All
what
of
do I
it.
do? I'm an umbrella, baby. Like I have all of these
Yeah.
things. It's
Yep.
not just like a one thing, a one-stop shop where you just integrate something you're going to see success and then buy. It's like so much more than that. But I love how you said like we give them what they want, we tap into their desires, we speak to their desires to a deeper part of them. And then behind the scenes, it's just like unhinged. It's like, I don't know what the fuck do you
It
want to
is.
do? Where do you want to go? Like this is the vehicle, but like what do you want to do? We don't have
Yep.
to stick to one thing behind the scenes. And I love
Right. And the conversations really kind of, once they start, I'll say, like, tell me what's going on with your content, what's not working, what's working, what do we love, what do we hate, what are we shelving for now? And all of a sudden you hear, it's like people just, it's like a subconscious leak in how they speak, and you can, it's this or it's that. And,
that.
just give me a few minutes and we can just pinpoint, oh, dude, like you actually know. I tell my clients all the time, you actually know how to write really good content. You actually do. It could have been this thing or that thing or whatever. But that's the truth. I mean, because we're humans, we're as unique as our fingerprint. So are our businesses. No business, no human is going to look the same. No story is going to look the same. And I think hiring a mentor like you, or like getting next to people who realize that and realize like you think it's this thing, but actually it might be this little thing over here we need to work on or whatever else. And then all of a sudden it flows and it really feels good. And then people get that quote unquote overnight success that they think that like people just blow up into. No, honey, you've been in the making for forever. We just needed to polish a few things.
Yeah. Yeah. We
And
just
there
need
you
to
go.
polish the knob. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God. That was like the only something I would say with you. And I love it so much. Speaking of that, I want to know, what are the biggest misconceptions about women tapping into their masculine when they sell in their business? What do you feel like the biggest misconceptions are?
So, so many things. They think that it's going to be like all hustle or like bro marketing, or they think that they're going to like work so much, or like that they're going to come off as like dominatrix or like too like overbearing, or like my fear is that I'm going to be intimidating. And like, what the thing is, like, I think like the more, if you can be in the masculine in your business, it actually creates so much room for feminine lean back, if you will. It's like when you have that system and that structure and that supports you, it's like being married. It's like if your man is your fucking rock and like you're solid, like how much better does that feel to know you are so fucking supported? Women
Mm,
come into business and they're like, I don't want to be in my masculine. Well, just learn it, get it set up for you, learn how to do it, and then fucking lean back and have fun. And like
yeah.
the analogy I'll use too is like, everybody's like, they want this like they want to fight about it. It's like, well, think of it this way. The masculine, like if we're building a house, the masculine is freaking like the architecture, the foundation, the boards, everything, the structure to it. And the feminine is like the interior design, the decorating, the paint colors, the feng shui, and everything else. You need both to make a really great space. So like let's like just stop the freaking like battle here. But they do. They're like so afraid, like, oh, if I learn this strategy, it's gonna take me out of this. No, honey, you are going to be lit the fuck up because of that.
I love that so much. And I was just going to ask you, like, do you feel like do you feel, your personal opinion, that there
Yeah.
needs to be a balance of masculine and feminine to see success as a leader in the industry?
I don't know if balance is the right word, but there definitely has to be a discernment of like when to step into each of them.
Mm,
Like I don't know if there is actually like ever a 50-50. I know it's like there's times of seasons of like focus and hustle and learning and implementing and perfecting and like doing the things, and like I do think that's necessary. But when you've mastered them, or when like, you've got that down, I think that then there's a time to lean back and there's a time to play and be creative. It's kind of like, we'll just use basics. If you know how to create content, then it becomes really fun to do, and you can let your creative side and your like flirty, sassy, quirky side come out. And then that can really feel like you're in your feminine, but it's like you've got that structure behind you that's really like it's holding you in that. And like I think that people need to realize it's not a conscious thing. You're like, I'm shifting into this and onto that. It's like it becomes a really great dance. And I think it's just learning to discern what that looks like for you. And I know for me, like my business exploded when I was actually like, yeah, I actually like to work. I actually do the work. I actually really enjoy it. And like why is it bad? Or like
yeah.
why do we want to avoid it? And
Yeah.
you can make it sexy. You make it sexy as shit. It is strategy is sexy as shit.
You do make it look good. I'm not gonna lie.
Thanks.
Yeah. So yeah, I love this conversation. Love this conversation. And I do feel like balance, like that looks different to everybody, right? And like you said,
Yeah.
it doesn't need to be 50-50. There are seasons where we're going to tap more into our masculine than we are, like
Mhm.
we're not always going to have this balance, or we're not always going to need to show up and be okay.
Mhm.
Well, from 9 to 10, I'm going to tap into my masculine, and from 11 to 2, I'm going to tap into my feminine, right? It's like last
Yeah.
year I was like huge in my masculine because
Yeah.
I was pivoting and I was
Yeah.
rebuilding and I was doing all of these things. And now I'm like, I'm
Feels
so tapped
good.
into my feminine, just like
Yeah.
playing and having fun and doing like
Yeah.
I haven't really sold besides a free
Mhm.
event for like a couple of months now. And it just feels so freeing. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
that is very sexy to me. That is
It
so sexy
is.
to me, right?
It's so sexy. And that's that like wisdom and that discernment of knowing, what I need right now, what's correct for me right now, and not making either one good, bad, right, or wrong, just is.
Yeah.
And I think that people are so afraid of not knowing or fucking it up or whatever. And like the truth is, like most people know when it's time, like you said, when you were rebuilding and pivoting and doing all the things, you knew innately, you knew if we got to get this rocket ship off the ground, it's gonna need some fucking jet fuel. But once we like break the atmosphere, we're like out of space. We're floating, baby, and it's
Oh my
fun. And it's like,
gosh.
but that's literally like so many people like they want to calculate when to like let off of the fuel. You will know. You will break the barrier. You will
Right.
know.
Like it's so freeing too, like being able to trusting yourself enough to let go of the control of the timeline and being
Mm,
attached to a timeline.
mm,
I mean, that's where the freedom is, right? And I love that you
yeah.
said that you love to work too, because like I feel like so many people are coming out and talking about that now that like, okay, maybe we were just lying that it takes 15 minutes a day because that's what people wanted to hear when like I fucking love working.
I
I
love it.
love working and I am tapped into my business
Yeah.
so often and I
Oh yeah.
absolutely loved it. I love it, but it's like to the point where some days when I'm so deep in my business, my husband gets done with work at 2. He's in the trades and he'll come home and I'll be like, but I want to like stay in my business for a little bit.
My God, I was cracking up. So my husband's in trades as well, or like he's in excavating, and so they're pretty slow right now. So we've had more than enough time together, and my son, like we had snowstorms and stuff over the last like couple weeks, and anyways. That being said, like I'm just like you guys. Please don't take this the wrong way, but all I want to do is fucking work. Like I love you, but like I just need. I've got this idea, and I just need it. Like I'm the kind of person if idea hits if the energy's there, like I just have to go do it. I'll get
Same.
in a bad mood if I don't. Like I'm
Yeah.
just like, no, I creatively have to go do this. Like it's so exciting to me to do this. And so thankfully they're really good about that. And they're like, nope, this is how she has a blast.
Yeah, I
And
feel
has
the
fun.
same way. I feel like it's like I have to exhaust that idea or like I
I
almost
do.
can't be present in something else. It's so hard for me.
Yes.
But I'm like an ADHD generator. And so it's like I have to exhaust all of that before I go to bed too, or I'll wake up at 2 a.m. and it's like,
Oh my God, that was me last night. I'm a generator too. And I got into bed. I was so tired, like crawling in. I was like, I'm gonna get the best night's sleep. And to crawl into bed, second win, an idea hit. I was so excited about certain stuff. And I was just like, I went said to my husband, I was like, I got a second win. He's like, just get up, just like go.
just go do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I feel the same way. And I love exhausting that energy because
Feels good.
I function the best when I wake up fresh. Everything is set from last night.
Yes.
I'm not like rolling any weird energy over from the day before. Like I go to bed, I have to clean. I have to clean my house before I go to bed. I have to vacuum. The dishes have to be put
Yes.
away. Like I have to do the thing in the middle of the pillows. Like all of that has
Yes.
to be done. You know what I mean? But I feel like we're so similar in that. I want to know because it's always juicy to know what you're manifesting this year.
Man, I think a lot of travel. I think that's like the big thing. Um, I actually don't set money goals to me. Like I love money. The wins are really great. But I really like to just challenge how much faster I can do a goal from like the day before or like from the month before or whatever. And so, but I'm a really big experience person. And so this year we want to travel a lot. Like we're looking at like getting some property up north. I'd love to get a property down south. I'm in Michigan, and so like Florida, we love to go to Florida in the winter because it's gray and cold here in the winter.
Mhm.
I was born in the wrong state. So I feel like a lot of travel, really moments and presence. Um, my manifestations, I feel like are really just like there's so much like so much experience and goals for myself. And I think the business to me, that feels like play now. That feels like art. That
Yeah.
feels like fun. Money goals, absolutely want to do another six figure year. I'd love to see it be scaling to my first 500K year. I think that'd be amazing.
Mm.
But am I gonna like keep that forefront? I don't think so. I'm really pushing having like where I am now and having so much fun in my business and like like it feels so powerful to be where I'm at now. That dollar amount does not matter to me.
Yeah, I really feel like when I let go of the attachment of numbers, it's like I love playing around with numbers,
Yeah.
but there's like duality and like loving the play of numbers, but not being attached to the number. And that's honestly when I started generating more. And
Yeah.
and like you said, it just feels like play at this point. And I was just having this conversation with my mentor tonight. It's just like, it's such a different feeling because even at the beginning of last year, I felt it just felt like pressure. And now the thought process is so different. And I just love that
Oh,
so much. I was also born in Michigan, but I was born in the UP. So
oh my gosh.
so
Yes, the
you're like
UP. We're
5 degrees
so
warmer than where I grew.
yes, yes.
But we're
No,
still
it's
neighbors. I'm in Wisconsin.
you're just across the lake.
I know.
No,
Let's get a boat.
it's so true. Like I'm an overcoming people pleaser and overcoming overachiever. That was like who I was growing up. And a lot of the learning that I and unlearning I had to do growing my business throughout the last 12 years, et cetera. And so numbers were a very big thing to me. And what I found is that they started being never enough. And that pressure to perform
Mm.
was debilitating. It literally kinked all my creativity, took all the fun out of it. And, it's like, I didn't want, why have a business that you just want to cry when you should open
Oh
up and
my
like that
God.
you
Yeah.
resent? And so there was a lot of unlearning of that over the last few years. And so to be able at the place now to be like, you know what? I fucking love what I do. And I feel so like it feels so powerful to play in your business and see the result and to see it work for people and to see it happen. And so to just like keep expanding that energy without attachment to no, sure, yeah, set goals, set them and just to be playful with yourself and just see if you can push it or like if you can do it because that's exhilarating. That's exciting. I'm one of those people. I love a challenge but where they're not so much gonna dictate who you believe you are as a person and, like, you just wake up every day just freaking excited, to me, that's a win.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just having this conversation. I feel like we're so similar. I was having this conversation with my husband and we're looking at different properties and stuff like that, not to necessarily buy now, but
Yeah.
it took me a second because we found these amazing like $1 million houses and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like this is how much I pay a month in mentorship. Like we can do this." You know what I mean? But then I was like, "But the house that we have now, like we fell in love with that." So
Yes.
I don't want to give that up just to get something bigger because the income is bigger because that is
Mhm.
coming from a place of lack. And I don't want it to
Mhm.
get to the point where it's never enough. And so we just started renovating the fuck out of this house and it's been so much fun to
Oh
be
my
able to
gosh.
do that. Like,
So,
but
what
I get what you're saying where it's just like I'm having so much fun and like why take away from that? Right? Like why take away from that?
we prayed for this shit not too long ago. And then all of a sudden it's
Exactly.
here and we moved the goalpost. It's funny that you said that because another one of our goals this year, like, is like fixing up, renovating the house, doing stuff with it. And like, I have an 120-year-old farmhouse. It's so cute. And making it really like fun and quirky and stuff, doing like the landscaping. It's so funny. You think that like your business starts generating money and you start having success and everything starts to flow. And it's like, you want just so much more simplistic stuff. And I think that that's when it cut, well, the big stuff too, it's all good, but when it's coming from a place of, like, so much fulfillment and satisfaction even without it, like, to me,
Yes.
that is, like that's when you fucking made it, dude, and that's when honestly,
Yeah.
that's when things start moving. That's when all of a sudden you're doing that quantum leap that you've pushed so hard for.
I know. I love that so much. I think that's the mindset too. Like when people accelerate in their businesses so fast and they don't even get a chance to like adapt to that, it's like it can be a really scary place to be in lack like that all the time. And so I am
Yeah.
very mindful of that. I'm very mindful of like, okay, I am grateful for what I have. And if I'm desiring more, why am I desiring more? Because I always want to
Mhm.
make sure that I'm like not desiring it for the wrong reasons. So
Yeah, out of lack and pressure, that's nowhere to be. I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, like, no thanks.
oh yeah, baby, we got some koozies.
Got all the t-shirts, some koozies, some magnets, the stickers, all of it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, this was like such a juicy conversation per the usual. It's like way past our bedtime though. We're
Oh my
grandmas.
gosh. I know. I'm like, yeah, I'm like that person now who's like, I can't have 8 hours sleep. I need 9 hours sleep and I need a magnesium and I need like my bedtime routine
I need
100%.
my Metamucil, like,
Yeah.
oh
Well, it's
my
gonna set me
gosh.
up for success tomorrow.
I love this. And the last thing that I'm going to ask you is how women can work with you because I'm going to put this in the description so people can get a hold of you and do all of the things.
Yeah, so you can DM me on Instagram if it's anything high touch, high level. Let's have a conversation first. I take pre-qualifying very seriously, so definitely have spots open. But let me know. Just shoot me a DM. Let's have the conversation. The Post and Profit Mini Mine is super popular. That one, that's a wait list for April. I can see it getting waitlisted till June. There's info on that on my Instagram as well. The new program coming out, we're teaching the framework, the foundations of how I write content. If you want to sound like I do and be able to say all the words and all things and just have it just land and just click with people really good. That program is starting next week, Monday. So jump in. That's the framework. That's the how to. That's the do this and get this
Do this,
piece.
like this. I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Allie,
Thank you.
baby. Ah, so fun. Well,
Thank
thank you
you.
all for listening. Join me next week as I record with Katie Elliott. Thank you to all who tuned in, who will tune in. With love, Nick and Alex.